Hello, I am Assistant Professor Pranali Lokhande from Lakshmichand Golwala College of Commerce and Economics. Today we will be covering the topic of venture capital from the subject Management Applications of PY Tally. Now, what is a venture capital? So, venture capital is actually money provided by professionals who invest in the management of young and rapidly growing businesses which actually have the potential to grow into bigger companies in the future. Now, who are the venture capitalists? Venture capitalists are high net worth individuals, or they can be financial institutions, or they can be investment banks. Now, these venture capitalists, they only invest in small businesses or startups, the businesses who have problems in acquiring funds on time or who are unable to raise funds from the market or from the banks are the types of businesses that venture capitalists invest in. So, what kinds of capital they can provide? So, the first is it can provide capital in the form of loan, or it can provide capital in the form of equity, or they can provide mezzanine funding, which is partly debt and part equity. Now, when investing in a small business or a startup, the venture capitalist usually look for three things. The first is the business must have a strong management and a competent team. Second is that the product must be unique in the market. And the third one is that the business opportunity must have a potential to grow in the future. These are the three general conditions that a venture capitalist look for while investing in small startups or small businesses. Now, what kind of projects do they usually invest in? So, this uh, startups or businesses or small businesses are usually high risk and high growth businesses. So, venture capital is usually invested in high risk and high growth businesses, and it is only made available for the businesses that are unique. It is not made available for businesses which are engaged in trading or broking or that provide financial services. The main thing to remember is that venture capitalists will only invest in companies that are unique and that have the potential to grow into bigger and profitable companies. The product should be unique. Next is, how does a venture capitalist joins the businesses? So, the venture capitalist not only invests in the small businesses, but he will join the business as a co-promoter. Now, co-promoter is the founder. The word promoter means founder of the business. So, he will join as co-promoter of the business. He will provide two things. First, he will provide fundings on time, and second is he will provide business expertise, technical knowledge whenever it is needed. He will be continuously involved in the working of the enterprises. So he may help the business in framing the policies, the plans of the firm. He can also hire and fire any of the managers, and he will provide operational or technical guidance to enhance the business efficiency. Now, this venture capitalist can also divest his investment in the future. Once the business is completely set up, the business has grown to be a profitable business, the venture capitalist will choose to divest at this point from the company, and then he will start to look for other small companies to invest his money in. Now, why do startups and small companies go for venture capital? One of the reasons is because it's a new company, it may find difficult to gain capital from investors because of lack of trust in the market, because they have not developed a name for them. Second is again it's a small company, so it may find it difficult to raise capital from the bank, because since it's a unique product, you don't know whether it will work in the market or not. So banks are usually reluctant So banks can be reluctant to provide capital in the form of loan to such companies, and hence the venture capitalist comes into the picture. And the other reason is that acquiring funds from the venture capital is less has less formalities compared to acquiring funds from banks or from other sources. Now, what are the stages in venture capital? The first stage is the preliminary stage where the venture capitalist will analyze the business plan. The second stage is negotiation stage. In this, both the parties will negotiate for terms and conditions of the funding. The third stage is due diligence stage, in which the venture capitalist will review the business. He will review the financial history of the entrepreneur, and thirdly, he will review the industry. So he will do three things. Again, the first is he will review the business. Second, he will review the financial history of the entrepreneur, and third, he will conduct an industry analysis. The next stage, or the fourth stage, is the contract signing stage. In this stage, both the parties, the venture capitalist and the businessman, will enter into a contract and sign a memorandum of understanding. The next stage is transfer of funds. In this stage, the funds are transferred from venture capitalist to the small business or the startup. And the last stage is exit from the venture. Once the business has been set up, or once the term of the funding ends, the venture capitalist may divest from the project. The venture capitalist may divest from the small business or the startup or the project that he has invested in. Now, what are the roles of a venture capitalist? First, he will finance new and rapidly growing industries. First, he will finance new and rapidly growing businesses. Second, he will arrange for additional capital if required in the future through other sources. Next is he will provide operational and technical assistance wherever it is required. Next, he will assist in the development of new products and services. So startups usually don't have, since they are startups and they don't usually have a lot of experience, they need an expert, they need guidance to operate their business at an efficient level. So a venture capitalist, again, as I have told you before, a venture capitalist will not just invest in your company, but he will also help in managing your company and managing your business. So again, if you require extra additional funds, so venture capitalist will make sure that your funds are being provided on time. If you need to develop a new product, he will also help you with that. Now, the next thing why venture capital is important is because it reduces the time of commercialization. Now, why venture capital is important? The another reason is it reduces the time for commercialization. Commercialization means to sell it or to make money off the product. So let's say a startup has come up with a unique product, but it can only commercialize it once it produces it on a mass scale and sells it in the market. Now, since in venture capital, it is easy, or it consumes now since venture capital fund is requires less formalities, which means it will also require less time to acquire. As the funds require less time to acquire, your entire business process will be faster. You will receive funds on time, you will be able to produce your product on time, and you will be able to sell your product in the market on time. Now, these were all the benefits of a venture capital. The best example for venture capital is, as you all know, Shark Tank. So all these judges in the Shark Tanks are actually venture capitalists, and they are seeking out new companies with unique products to invest their money in. So they will not just invest their money in, but they will also provide assistance to the business. And once the business has been set up and it has become a profitable business model, they may choose to divest from that business project. A quick review of what is venture capital. So venture capital, again, in short, a venture capital is a fund that is provided to small businesses or startups. A venture capitalist is a high net worth individuals. And why do companies go for venture capital? Because small companies and startups find it difficult to raise capital from banks or other sources, and since raising fund from a venture capitalist requires less formality and is less time consuming, it becomes easier for you to produce your product on a mass scale, and it becomes easier for you to make your product available in the market at the right time.